What would be your advice to a preacher, a young man starting out, and he's pastoring? He started pastoring. Best advice you could give to a young starting pastor?
Don't be bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get bitter. Don't fail in the grace of God. That will kill you quicker than anything. And keep your eyes on Christ. Remember, it's not, people always hurt you. But to remember that we have to develop the Lord in their lives. I mean, we have a divine nature. And we look at each other and say, I can't believe that. But we do have a divine nature. And we need to cultivate the Christ in people. Their spirituality, their relationship with Christ. We try to teach them things, we try to do things for them, and don't do things for them. Let the people learn themselves. You're not their God. Don't be their God. You let God be their God. And you be their mentor, you be their instructor, you be the under shepherd. Don't try to take over the chief shepherd.
Very good. You're in the middle of this transition, about to move to Fort Worth, and when you get there, I assume you'll be doing some pulpit supply and that type of thing. What one big lesson has God taught you in the middle of this transition that might be helpful to other men preparing to go through the transition of stepping from pastor to the unknown with the rest of their life?
I think it's preparation. I think the biggest fear that pastors have in making transitions is no one's going to back them. No one's going to take their place, and there's going to be failure. In other words, they don't think they can do the job. No one can do the job better than them. Now, as you know, my son is now the pastor at Victory. That's one of my motivations is moving on, is to let him, without in the shadow of my, in the shadow of me, do things, but let him be the pastor. I was younger than him when I was a pastor, and he's a lot smarter than I am as far as his knowledge and understanding. And now he'll never do it as good as me, but it's not going to mean that he's doing it wrong. So that's one of my motivations. But it's also a motivation is I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried the church is going into apostasy. I'm not worried about the music's going to change, because I've seen it over and over again. Pastor leaves, church goes completely different direction. And I saw the transition of the people, I must decrease and he must increase. I saw that. And then I saw finally where the people said, okay, we've turned our hearts to him. And so that's one thing. I think another thing is by faith, I'm making a big decision going to Fort Worth. I'm losing basically the support of my family, just being there, the grandkids, but I'm not here living for my grandkids. I'm here to live for my Lord. Don't mean I don't love my grandkids. I've had my chance to raise kids. That's over. Now it's time to move on. I don't think God's through with me. I don't know what's ahead of me, but it's exciting to do. This is when I came up to Maryland. If I look back, I would say, why in the world did I move up there? I didn't know anybody. I was by myself in essence. But yet God was with me. So I can see that when we step out on faith, when do we quit living by faith? But we get comfortable. And when we get comfortable, it's not good. It's not good for any pastor to get comfortable.
Yeah.
It's time to either move on or do something different or take a bigger challenge.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to say to the folks before I shut the camera off?
No, there's so many things. I guess one of the things that I would encourage all people is don't be bitter. Forgive and move on. Move the change in your life. Because I've seen bitterness in my ministry. I think bitterness has destroyed more families, more lives, more people than any one sin that I can think of. As the Bible says, it defiles many. And I've seen good men, good people can't move because they're bitter.
Amen.